All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. I've got a couple of interesting stories for you guys today. The first story, I wanted to talk about a men's physique story, and I typically don't, but this guy impressed me so much. He competed this past couple weeks ago at the Monsters in Pro, but as you guys know, we just got the results from that show. So he won the men's physique category there, qualified for the Olympia. So he's the newest name added to the Olympia list in men's physique, and I think he's got a tremendously impressive physique. So this guy's username is IFBB Thanos, IFBB Pro Thanos on Instagram. His full name is Kim Min Soo, and if you guys go and look at the Mr. Olympia competitor list, he is now added to the qualified list. And if you look at these recent pictures that he posted, one of the things that really impressed me so much about his physique is how small his waist is in comparison to his upper body. He's got extremely wide shoulders, very big round delts, big, just crazy upper body. But his waist is almost just impossibly small. And I just think that this guy looked so impressive from a conditioning standpoint, from a structure standpoint, that it's kind of hard to not talk about him. And I know I don't talk as much about men's physique, and the reason for that is because I just don't know as much about it. I think the judging criteria in men's physique is a lot more subjective than it is in men's bodybuilding. In bodybuilding, I can tell you a lot easier what they're looking for in a Mr. Olympia than if you ask me what they're looking for in a men's physique or a bikini or a women's physique, Miss Olympia or Mr. Olympia. But so many people have been sending me this guy's pictures and this guy's profile and the results from the Monsters in Pro. And I got to admit, this guy has a tremendously impressive physique. And from a structure standpoint, if I were a judge in the IFBB, this would be what I would be looking for in the men's physique Mr. Olympia. I know they're looking for wide shoulders. I know they're looking for a small waist. I know they're looking for that V-taper effect. And his whole upper body is just extremely complete. His chest, his shoulders, his arms. There's really nothing you can say negative about his physique from a men's physique standpoint. And I just thought it was extremely impressive and worth noting in this video. So shout out to IFBB Pro Thanos. Now next up in the news, Brandon Curry. Brandon Curry just announced on his Instagram that he will be beginning a Mr. Olympia prep video series, The Road to the Olympia. And this is something that you don't typically see the champions doing. You see other guys doing Road to the Olympia, Road to the Arnold Classic, but typically the champions of these shows tend to hide away a little bit. The last guy that was a really big name guy that I saw do this was Big Ramy. Big Ramy did this with Dragon Pharma going into the Arnold Classic this year. And I thought that was a tremendous thing for him to do because the fans want access to these big name guys. So to do a full video series of your prep leading up to a show, I think is a generous thing to do for the fans. And Brandon Curry being the reigning, defending, returning Mr. Olympia this year, I thought it was very impressive that he's actually going to be starting basically a documentary series of his entire prep, I'm assuming week by week, going into the Olympia. So shout out to Brandon. And also, I saw some more clips of Brandon on somebody else's Instagram page, some recent physique updates of Brandon on someone's page that was training at Oxygen Gym there with Brandon. So that page was 3bood_Boucherie, and he's doing some pec flies there, and you can kind of get an idea of where his physique is at 13 weeks out now from the Olympia. So as always, I will keep you guys posted every week on whatever Brandon Curry is doing because he is technically the favorite going into the Olympia this year, being that he is the current champion. So shout out to Brandon Curry. Good on you for doing that video series. Now, next up in the news, Patrick Moore posted a training session today where he basically officially kind of details how long of an offseason exactly he will be taking off. And Patrick, he did recently announce after his finish at the Cali Pro that he was going to be taking a long offseason from bodybuilding and presumably skipping the Olympia. So now we know for sure he is skipping the Olympia this year. He's not going to compete anymore. He's not going to try to qualify. A full 12 months minimum, he says, starting now. So from this point forward, a minimum of a 12-month offseason, and he says his goal in this caption is to get bigger. He says the fans want bigger, so that's what he's going to give them. He says he's weighing 260 in this video. And he says he's had 6,000 to 7,000 calories a day consistently over the past week. So he's going to take a long period of time off, and that might mean he's skipping next year's Olympia too, because 12 months from now would put him in September. So assuming the Olympia happens on time, remember the Olympia this year is only postponed because of all the lockdown stuff. Presumably next year the Olympia will be back in September, so 12 months from now presumably would be past the Olympia. So this might mean we might not see Patrick on an Olympia stage again until 2022. The last Olympia he was at was 2019. He's skipping this year, 2020, and it looks like next year, 2021. So we might not see Patrick for a while. And maybe that's what Patrick needs. I mean, I do agree that in some of these lineups, he did look small in that lineup, and that could be the reason for his placing. But I still contest that if he had the same conditioning that he had at the 2019 Mr. Olympia, which was fantastic conditioning, he could have won those shows even at the size that he's at, because I just don't think he's brought that same conditioning that he had in the 2019 Mr. Olympia. His conditioning's been good, but it just hasn't been the same. And I think he set that bar so high for him at the Olympia that the judges are constantly expecting that from him at all these showings that he's had recently, and he just hasn't been able to bring it for whatever reason. So hopefully he doesn't play the size game too much, and he's still able to come in with good conditioning. Now, next up in the news, I want to give a shout out to Labrada Nutrition. Labrada Nutrition wanted to sponsor today's video as well, so I'm going to go ahead and roll their video here. I really appreciate that, Lee Labrada and Hunter Labrada. So here is the Labrada Nutrition sponsored video. Now, next up in the news, we've got Leonidas Arkona with a new strict curl PR, a double PR, 211 pounds, 96 kilogram strict curl for 2 reps. Again, the world record is 113 kgs or 249 pounds. So 211 for a double is getting pretty damn close to that record. Leonidas is definitely one of the guys leading the charge right now that I've got my eye on. Some of these up-and-coming guys that really have the potential, like honest potential, to come close to or break that record. And hopefully, I've said it before, I want to see like a big strict curl meet before the end of the year, like an attempt to break that record. Maybe World's Ultimate Strongman will be willing to do that, and I think Leonidas is going to be one of the guys that should be taking a crack at it. Now, next up in the news, Sergio Oliva Jr. He had a fantastic showing at this year's Arnold Classic, but despite that, he is still not on the qualified competitors list for the Olympia, and he is significantly outside of the top 3 in the point standings with 7 points. So Sergio, I know, wants to compete at the Olympia this year. He's not qualified yet, so that means he would have to compete again before the Olympia if he wants to qualify either on points or on winning a show. Now, the Chicago Pro is coming up in less than 4 weeks. He's done that show before. I believe more than once he's done the Chicago Pro, but I haven't seen Sergio officially commit to any shows before the Olympia. But if I had to guess, he looks like he's in really good shape right here. He looks like he could be prepping for a show, potentially 4 weeks out from a show. And if I had to guess if he was doing a show, I would guess Chicago. I've become a really big fan of Sergio after seeing what he put together for the Arnold Classic. I really would like to see him on the Olympia stage this year, and I really would like to see him compete and qualify for the Olympia, but I don't know for sure that he will. He hasn't committed to anything, but it looks like it is possible, and if I had to bet on it, I would bet on Chicago. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Now, next up in the news, Calum von Moger with another physique update as he's preparing for his return to the amateur bodybuilding stage, the amateur classic physique stage, I should say, where to me, he does look significantly downsized to where he's been in the past, but he looks like he's in really good shape. But I want to know in the comment section below, where do you think he will place and how do you think he will fare at his return to the stage, especially with the leg injury and possible still having that imbalance in the legs because one leg was severely injured and one leg wasn't, which caused some atrophy on that leg. But his upper body is looking pretty good. So I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Does Calum still have a shot at turning pro in classic physique, or do you think he will remain an amateur competitor and mostly a social media personality? Let me know in the comment section below. Now, the final story that I have for you guys today, so many of you guys have been tagging me and sending me this post from Big Ramy, a physique update from Big Ramy, where Big Ramy says he cannot wait to get back on stage, and he posted a ton of physique pictures. Now, I hate to break it to you guys, but these are not recent pictures of Big Ramy. These are from his prep for the Arnold Classic. I distinctly remember some of these exact same pictures he posted during the Arnold Classic. So this is exactly why I've said in the past, it can be tricky to tell when Big Ramy posts a physique update, whether it's recent or not, because he doesn't say throwback. He doesn't say these are old physique updates. He posts a bunch of physique updates and says, I can't wait to get back on stage. Of course, a lot of you guys are going to think they're recent, but these ones, I know for a fact, these are not recent pictures of Big Ramy. Do I think he's going to step on stage again in 2020? Absolutely yes. But these photos are not an indication of how Big Ramy is looking right now. I wish they were, as much as you guys do, but unfortunately they are not. So that's going to wrap it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did in fact enjoy it. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Please subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed yet already. As always, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Nick Strength and Power signing out.